All right, so welcome back to episode 80 of Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. I'm that other dude, Andrew, and I'm joined as always by Heather.
Hello.
And for those of you who aren't sure, this is a different stovepipe hat. This is not a modified stovepipe hat. This one does not taper. This is legitimate. So I
Very
will be,
nice.
thank you. I will be ready to go to the land of Lincoln and look like I belong.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed, as opposed to some poser who's in my day we would say fronting, some poser who's fronting with a modified stovepipe hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that is out of the way. I've addressed the elephant in the room, or the giant stovepipe hat on my head. And today, for episode 80, we're going to talk Lopan, who is a band that is near and dear to my heart. They're originally from Columbus, Ohio, and they have a couple of albums. I think they have one, two, three, four, five albums. So four full length records and an EP. Um, so why don't you kick things off if you want? If there was anything in particular you wanted to mention about any tracks or music or whatnot.
Well, I listened to two of their records and I thought that I would let you, you know, talk start out talking about them
Okay,
and
yeah, I just
cuz I know that there's a story there and that they are kind of special to you. So I thought maybe you could
oh
start
yeah,
out
yeah.
talking about them.
I just didn't know if you had wanted to say anything as like a preface. If you want.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
so I I first heard of Lopan, I think in 2013 or 2014. Whenever Martin and I did the first season of A Fistful of Faithful, they were one of the bands I played for him, I think, to talk about like contemporary stoner metal. Um, and I remember I was drawn to the name because Lopan is the name of the villain in Big Trouble in Little China, David Lopan. He's a sorcerer. Uh, And immediately I was like, oh, well, if they're going to name their band Lopan, then I definitely want to check them out. It was sort of like how names of bands will draw me to them, and then it'll be a pleasant surprise that they also make kick ass music. So that's when I first heard Lopan. And I think the other thing I was drawn to, their first album is called Sasquanaut, and a lot of the tracks on that album are named after movies or named after characters. So I made a list. For example, they have a track called Dragline, and I believe, well, I know that Dragline was the name of George Kennedy's character in Cool Hand Luke. His name was Dragline. They have a track called Savage Henry, and in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, there's a section where um, Dr. Gonzo tells someone that they're in town to croak a skag baron named Savage Henry. So whether or not that's accurate, whether or not I'm reading too into this, remains to be seen. But I'd like to believe that I was picking up all these pop culture references. Um, they have a track called Wade Garrett, which was Sam Elliott's character's name in Roadhouse. And then finally, they have a track called Kurtz, which I believe is named after Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. And that one I'm pretty sure of because lyrics from the song match up with a monologue that Kurtz gives in the movie, where he talks about incinerating cow after cow, pig after pig, and that's lines in the song. So right off the bat, I was like, okay, this band is gonna be a band that I listen to in the future. Like they're gonna be. And then in 2018, June 28th of 2018, Lopan and ASG, another band I like, were going to be playing in Washington D.C. So my friend Patrick and I went to the show, uh, which was a Friday night, I think. Friday night, I just June 28th, I know for sure. It was a great show in DC. Had a wonderful time, and I bought a T-shirt from Lopan. I was really excited about that. And the next day, I flew to go visit my parents on June 29th. And I'm pretty sure I was wearing the Lopan T-shirt. And then that's when I had my ruptured brain aneurysm on the jetway. So I think when I was in surgery or in the hospital, they probably had to cut the T-shirt off. So I couldn't find it. That will be important later on. Um, so Lopan was instrumental in sort of happening. That was all sort of grouped together. Like I think of them sometimes when I think of the fact that I survived and my recovery and that I'd seen them the night before. So while the music is dynamite, I think they really do a great job of creating cool riffs and a great stoner song. But the lead singer, Jeff Martin, has a unique vocal delivery. And I would put him in the top 10 of, music of singers, just in terms of the fact that like he really delivers. Um, I mean, the entire band is great, but if I was going to just focus on things that you immediately hear it and you know who it is. Um, anyway, so that's why Lopan is really special to me, um, because I had seen them the night before my aneurysm. That may or may not have factored into anything. Um, but what's important is I had told you that I bought a shirt from the band when I went to see them, and I couldn't find it anymore.
Yeah. And I thought, you know what? I gotta find you a t-shirt. And I really was hoping that I would be able to find the t-shirt that they had at that show. And I searched the internet, I searched eBay, I searched Etsy, I searched and I searched, and I could not find, a t-shirt from that particular concert that you went to. And as a last ditch effort, I emailed the band and I'm like, I know this is a long shot, but and I told them, what had happened and that you lost your t-shirt, and is there any way that they had a t-shirt, and I figured, that it's probably slim. The chances are very slim, but I thought, why not try? Why not just try? So, but I never heard back from them. And so I just went on their Bandcamp page and I just bought a t-shirt off of their Bandcamp page because I figured, you at least have to have a t-shirt, even if it's not the same one, you definitely should have one. And so I made it my mission to get you a low band t-shirt.
Yes, which I have, which is in my apart. When I go home to my apartment the next time, I will make sure to pick it up. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do wear it frequently. It is so they had two albums that came out in 2011, Sasquanaut and Salvador. Then they had an album called Colossus in 2014. Tensions was an EP in 2017, and Subtle, their latest release, was in 2019. And that was the T-shirt you got for me. It was a Subtle T-shirt. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wear it. I still listen to the band frequently. Unfortunately, their drummer Jesse Bartz was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago. I think last year, maybe. Uh, and I believe he had surgery and radiation, and I hope he's in remission. I couldn't find any news about his condition, but I think he's doing well. and I just hope the band is doing well also because and I did they had a GoFundMe page set up for the drummer to help him pay some of his medical bills. And I contributed to that, and the lead singer reached out to me to thank me. And I was able to tell him about the story of seeing them the night before, having the aneurysm, losing the T-shirt, you getting it back to me. So they know about it. I don't know how in depth they were because a lot was going on at the time. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say what's really cool is um, they're ironic and fun enough to have tracks titled Wade Garrett and reference the film Roadhouse, but the music is kick ass enough that it's serious. You know, they can write some serious riffs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're interested in like that sort of throwback 70s era stoner rock with dynamite vocals and great riffs, then I would check out all their whole catalog really. Um, there's I have personal favorite songs just because of what they represent at the time I listened to them, but you could throw on any of their albums and just ride out the whole thing. There's really not a song that you would skip over.
Yeah.
That was the test I remember. So um, Ben Rhodes, who became one of Barack Obama's speechwriters, he and I went to high school. And I remember when we were in middle school, we talked about Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever being an album that you could listen to all the way. And this, we were listening to it on cassette tape. And I think it was a real pain to have to forward or rewind songs, and the tape might catch and all the. So if you found a tape you could listen to the whole way through just on play. So that was like, I then thought of that as the Full Moon Fever test. So all of these albums pass the Full Moon Fever test. And if you need a more ringing endorsement from a man wearing a stovepipe hat, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I listened to the last two. They're the last two. And when I listened to them, I tried to imagine what it would be like seeing them, in concert because I know you've seen them. And so I was trying to imagine what that might be like seeing a show of theirs. And I would imagine that it's pretty awesome, you
Yeah,
know.
we saw them. I want to say at a place called the Black Cat in DC. It may have been a different place, but it was a really small venue. There wasn't a stage really. The band kind of set up on one side of the room, and then people were on the other side of the room. But I remember the drummer was sort of the featured person in the middle, and the band members all stood off to the side, or not the side, but like it circled him basically. And I remember the lead singer wasn't out in front. They sort of chose to have all the members equal, and with the drummer sort of being. And the only time I've ever seen that is when the drummer has been a singer too. But
Yeah, kind of
but
an
it was
unusual setup. Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It worked well, especially in that small venue. It was very intimate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was cool because the band played, and then they all went. They didn't have a merch person, so they became the merch person afterward. So I think I bought my T-shirt from the bass guitarist. So it was really cool. I was talking to
Yeah.
him about love your band, love your music. I think I told him that I had featured them on a Fistful of Faceful, but
Yeah.
it was just cool to sort of. And then ASG went on, and we got to watch them, which was cool. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, go check out Lopan. They're from the
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah, they're really great like stoner, like stoner tinged hard rock, you know. they're right, kind of like right in that wheelhouse. And like you said, that the vocals, I mean, just strong, really strong, soaring vocals. That definitely is, I would say definitely one of their strong suits. And when I was listening to the record, I thought too, I'm like, wow, this is mixed really well because I could hear all the, I could hear all the individual instruments, and then the way that they all play together is just phenomenal. You can tell that the songwriting is just that they're excellent songwriters, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, these days I mention it sort of, it's become cliche now, but when I find a contemporary band that can like take the place of, like Sir Lord Baltimore is one of my favorite sort of old school stoner metal bands, but they're from the 70s and they're not making music anymore. So to have a group like Lopan take the torch from them, and
Yeah,
I mean, the music, it's a different sounding music, but it's the sort of same kind of like mythical status. So
yeah,
I would put
yeah,
I would put Lopan there. Kind of
yeah,
like how it's like Slow Green Thing has taken the torch from someone, and Purple Hill Witch, and
yeah.
so it's just cool.
And I think their music has a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy, and that it's the kind of music that you can listen to that will really get you going.
Yeah,
All that energy, you can just feel it.
yeah. The you got also with the live show too. You sort of tapped into that, like there was a vibe in the room. It was
Yeah,
very cool. But
yeah,
yeah, you can throw on any of these albums and blast off. It's really great music. So
yeah,
all right, well, I mean, I would say uh, any of these albums are worth checking out. Go check out Lopan. Um, and Heather and I, of course, will be back next week. It'll be your turn for episode number 81.
yeah,
Jeez, I can't
yeah.
believe we,
We're in the 80s.
where does the time go?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Um, all right, well, I am really glad you liked the band, um, and I look forward to, of course, speaking with you next week about. All right, I'm going to look because I can mountains.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
mountains.
And just in case there's more than one band named Mountains, this is Mountains from the UK.
Okay, mountains from the yeah. I'm not familiar with them, so
Okay.
this will be a cool exploration into the mountains of the UK.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Heather. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.